All right, guys, back again after a very disappointing loss in the Derby della Madonnina against AC Milan. And listen, realistically, AC Milan didn't strike any lightning yesterday. They just, happened to win because we didn't perform as well, right? And because we didn't perform as well, I've been noticing some things that have been trickling down year over year, and I have to finally confess and talk about it. The first thing I want to talk about and get off my chest is Nicolò Barella. And listen, before I get too into it, Nicolò Barella has earned every single stripe on this Inter team, and there's definitely no question as to why he's one of the leaders of the team, right? Over the last 6, 7, 8 years, as long as we've known Nicolò Barella in that Inter shirt, he's just, absolutely brought joy to us on the pitch. He's helped his team. He's given his all pretty much for this Inter shirt, so there's definitely no discrediting that. However, over the last 2 seasons, I've noticed an extreme dip in his physical ability, extreme dip in his pace, and most importantly, an extreme dip in his statistical output, right? Barella used to be banging in volleys like he was in his backyard. Barella used to be hitting strikes from outside the box as if he was on the training ground, doing this in big games, doing this year over year, season over season. However, these last 2 seasons, all of that has completely faded. He is no longer able to be that effective scorer, that effective playmaker, that effective player on the field that Inter needs to actually score goals. And the big issue is that the way Inter plays and their build-up, right, a lot of the times the ball ends up at his feet. For whatever reason, whether it's through game flow, whether it's through positional flow, it just always ends up at his feet. And because this constant theme of the ball ending up at his feet keeps happening, and this guy is no longer as fast, he's no longer able to score as many goals as he used to be able to, he's no longer able to create those critical and crucial plays that used to put Inter up 2-0, 3-0, right when Inter's, kind of feeling some tension. Nicolò Barella would come in and pop a goal like it was nothing. This right here is Nicolò Barella's stats from last year, 2024-2025. 56 games, 3 goals, and 9 assists. Like, for someone that's supposed to be considered an elite midfielder, no, not in today's age. There's a lot of midfielders that are passing you statistically. There's a lot of midfielders that are passing you just, in every way. For Nicolò Barella, over 56 games, you should be netting at least 10 goals at the bare minimum. That's all we ask of you, right? Not to mention, in all the big games against Juventus, AC Milan, Champions League, PSG, Manchester City, all these big games, do you hear Nicolò Barella had a good game? No. More than likely, you will never hear that, he stepped up in a big moment when we really needed him, let alone only scoring 3 goals the whole season of last year. And we could even take a look at this year, right? 15 games, 1 goal, 4 assists, right? Maybe you could say the assists are getting a little bit better, back to a little bit normal, but not really. If we add this to last year's game total, that would be 56 plus 15. That's 70 games. 70 games, he scored 4 goals. That's insane. I can't take it anymore. I just can't, We are a formidable opponent to anyone, right? We've been getting to Champions League. We've been beating Barcelona, Bayern Munich. Listen, does he do some crucial things in the middle of the pitch in terms of winning some battles, in terms of controlling pace of play? He's still very capable of doing that, 100%. But in terms of the output, it's starting to look a little shaky, to be honest with you. Now, the next guy I want to talk about, and this isn't all going to be bad, trust me. The next guy I want to talk about is Zielinski, right? Zielinski came to Inter, 2-3 years ago maybe, and since then, I haven't seen anything from him, right? Literally, and I'm going to show you the stats and the numbers to prove it. When Zielinski came from Napoli, in Napoli, he was one of their starters, he was one of their prime players, he was one of their facilitators, he was one of their playmakers, he was scoring, assisting, doing everything. For whatever reason, he's come to Inter, and he's unable to perform the same way that he used to perform at Napoli. Once again, I pulled up his stats for last year, 2024-25. 39 games. 39 games played, 2 goals scored, 3 assists. Like, what are we doing? What are we putting you on for? I know you're shooting. I know you like that little outside the box shot. I know you like to, dribble and deep guys and try to make. What are we doing on the field with our time? You know what I mean? This cannot go on for any longer. These guys are not equipped right now to have the statistical output of a midfielder. Right? Let's look at the statistical output of a midfielder such as Enzo Fernandez, right? Plays in the Premier League, plays in the top club, faces big competition all the time. Last year, 9 goals, 17 assists. That's 26 goal contributions. A goal contribution every other game, 53 games, right? So when guys on my team are scoring 2 goals and 3 assists over 50 games or whatever it was for Barella, it's embarrassing, right? To go in week after week this cold, so a change has to be made, right? We have to either start benching this guy and starting other players, right? Or, and honestly, I feel like Inter plays a little bit better without Barella. The ball is a little less stagnant, runs are being made. Plays are happening in the midfield more fluidly. So, like I said, it isn't all bad because you know who does deserve the credit? Hakan Çalhanoğlu, right? Who shows up, even though he missed the penalty yesterday, shows up every single game, puts the stats up, right? Takes his chances, takes the proper shots from outside the box, hits his penalties. Like, you know what I mean? This is what I expect out of a midfielder. Henrik Mkhitaryan makes the game flow, right? Puts his body on the line. For some reason, whenever Mkhitaryan plays, we always play good. Always makes the team tick. Always gives a little extra support, right? Barella also has a big problem with complaining. He's a big whiner on the field. You ever see Barella throw his hands up like this and he's just, you know, it doesn't make sense. It's like he's frustrated with his own game, and because of that, it's now leaking on, you know what I mean, to the Inter dynamic. And honestly, I do feel like this is a critical issue. Mind you, Inter is still going to be able to play great, still going to be able to win a lot of games, even with Barella. He's still a good player, right? But it's the big games that I'm worried about when we get to these finals, when we get to you know, these important derbies and things like that. Like, he's not going to be able to show up, you know. Honorable mention to Peter Sucic, who is a new kid on the block at Inter, but he's shown up so far. He's been able to put up some goals. He's been able to put up some assists. So we're looking forward to seeing what his potential could bring, but we still don't know. But what I do know is right now, Barella, Zielinski, for me, shouldn't be playing as often, and we should start looking towards the future, whether it's selling these guys or letting these guys go. Zielinski is probably going to be a lot easier to get rid of. Barella, on the other hand, he's played for Inter for so long. He's one of the team leaders. He's, you know, and I quickly wanted to add also, both of these guys, right, were in struggling campaigns with their national teams, Italy and Poland, right? So it's not like they're just struggling over here. They're also struggling in their national team, not able to get the job done, not able to qualify for the World Cup. So anyways, overall, you know, like I said, we're still formidable. We're still going to be winning loads and loads of games. There's no denying that. Like, you can't expect this Inter team to play like that all the time. They're going to have still that firepower, Lautaro Martinez, the attack that they have, Boni, Thuram, you know, as long as those guys keep it up, we're still going to have a great season. However, you know, I do think these are some of the drawbacks. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the matter. Am I right? Am I being too critical? Let me know.